Welcome back. I hope you all had a good activity. This is Kip Scheuer again, and I'll be doing the next section on Introduction to CivicSpark. All right, so at this point, now that you've had an overview of AmeriCorps and an introduction from all of us, we wanted to dive in to provide an introduction to CivicSpark, the program. So I'm going to start at the top with an overview of what our mission is. Then I'm going to talk about how it came to be and what it looks like at a high level. We're going to be diving in to the mechanics and the reasons over the next few days, but to get started, I want to give you the big picture. Our mission is to build capacity among local governments, enabling communities to better address climate change. We also want to grow strong leaders, as we said in the morning. We want to help you become the leaders who are going to take on climate change and develop lasting careers in the field. And finally, we want to recruit and support volunteers to increase community engagement around sustainability because, as we also mentioned earlier, we need a lot more people involved in this issue. We need a lot more engagement overall to get things moving along. So, what does that mean for us? Well, first, I want to talk about why CivicSpark is important and we think unique in the field. There is a compelling need for local government capacity building around climate change. And we'll talk in more depth about our theory of change later, about our approach and the mechanisms, but we just want to say at the top here that local governments lack resources. That's not just money. They lack the time. They lack the technical capacity in many cases. What they don't generally lack, at least in California, is the will to act. What we see time and time again, and what we saw in developing this program, is local governments are hungry for change. They recognize the opportunity that they have to make a difference, but they don't have the resources to act. Definitely fiscal resources are a part of it, but it's that technical piece and that time to engage the community or look deeper at tools and solutions that they're really lacking. So it's going to take a lot of support to help local governments make change, and that's part of the reason that we created the program. We also think it's an opportune time to make a difference. Mitigation and adaptation are increasingly important to both fronts, and by mitigation we mean reducing greenhouse gas emissions, and by adaptation we mean adapting to changes that are pretty much baked in, so to speak, to the environment. And so the tools, the resources that are out there are increasingly available, but they need to be deployed at a greater level. And because mitigation and adaptation affect all layers and levels of society, there are many different tools and approaches that a local government could get involved in, a community could get involved in. And so trying to learn about those and bring them to bear, whether it's a new policy or a new technology, takes a lot of time and effort. So we think also that CivicSpark is unique because we have a different approach to change. We think service is a great win-win for both members and local governments, and that a professional level intervention like this is both unique and valuable to help local governments. Local governments have historically not been great about connecting with volunteerism, and we'll talk about that later on in the week. But we see this as a great entry point. We also think local government's an exciting place to make a difference, and we're hoping you all will too through this program. So by bringing these two together, you all as emerging leaders and local governments who have all this need and desire to act, we really feel like we've got an important and unique opportunity before us. So when we talk about local governments, who are we talking about? Who are we serving? All AmeriCorps programs, as Kristen may have outlined, have defined beneficiaries. That is the group or the effort or the issue that you're serving. In CivicSpark's case, that beneficiary is local government itself. So we'll talk at length about what local government is a little bit later today, but for now, I want to outline the kinds of agencies we support. All public agencies who are not state agencies are local government. These can be municipal agencies such as towns, cities, counties, but they're also regional agencies such as a metropolitan planning organization, an air district, a water district. There are also, special districts such as sewer, water, utility districts that have a certain purview and over a particular issue. There's also school districts are public agencies and therefore local governments. We work with any and all of these to facilitate their capacity building needs because they all have a role to play in addressing climate change. So we work with generally the staff in these agencies to facilitate change through project activities. We may work out in the community, but we'll always have a connection to the local government staff itself. So how did we get here? How did this program get to the place where we're focusing on this need in this way? I know Ken gave a little bit of an overview of the history of some background, and I want to go into that a little bit more. So we had a planning grant from California volunteers to research the need in California. This planning grant came out of some discussions with the governor's office about what are some of the needs broadly, and after focusing in on climate change and local government support, uh, the governor's office partnered with California volunteers and gave the local government commission, who's been on the forefront of these issues for probably 30 years, a grant to look into a model of an AmeriCorps program that would meet these needs. We looked at existing program models. We met with over 40 stakeholders, and by stakeholders, I mean organizations as well as individuals, and climate change actors in 9 regions around California. Had big focus group sessions. We looked at all those results. We looked at the data that the state had on where the opportunities and the needs were. And we decided to focus on capacity needs. Not just one project or activity, but developing capacity needs in general. And that's in part because what we heard over and over again from local governments is they don't need one thing. They don't need just one project. They don't need us just to go work on energy efficiency in residential buildings, or they don't need us to just work on health vulnerability assessments. They need the capacity to do this themselves because they know after we're done, they've got to keep doing this. They've got to own this work. So the results of this effort led to the development of the CivicSpark structure. We have 3 pieces that we think are sort of, again, unique to the program structure that I think will help us see success and help lead to the kinds of outcomes we're aiming for. We have a strategic design that we believe will empower local governments. By setting capacity building as the performance measure, we're meeting local governments where they need to be supported. We have a distributed program. By having 9 regions around the state, we are setting up a program that has small teams working out of a central area that can support a larger geography. So we're not just supporting the big urban areas. We're not just supporting a large one region of the state, but we're trying to reach a lot of the state through this program. And community engagement and transition of knowledge are core to the design because we want to ensure capacity building gains continue after CivicSpark's involvement. So who makes up CivicSpark? Obviously through the application process, you've heard a little bit about how we're structured, but we want to give you this diagram and we'll talk about each layer in just a moment. To start with, the Local Government Commission is the agency that runs it. You can see the main staff people listed there. We have our program support partners, the Governor's Office of Planning and Research and Encore.org. Then we have each of the 9 regions for which there is a regional partner, and this is an organization that's helping us implement the program, a regional supervisor who I hope is sitting there smiling as I compliment them on their amazing efforts to date, and then the members themselves. And you can see that there are different sized teams in each region, and that had to do with the amount of demand for service in each region as well as the overall size. So, a little bit about the Local Government Commission. We are a nonprofit who supports local government policies and projects. The Local Government Commission is CivicSpark's overall program manager, providing the statewide program infrastructure and member and local government support, training, and ensuring that goals are met. So we are the program operator. We take care of all of the structure and design of the program. We created all the resources and materials. We will be overseeing every step of the process. We have a staff of 3 main people working here in Ed LGC's office, overseen by our executive director. And we have a support team in accounting, IT, and some administrative support who also will be helping make sure that this program comes off smoothly. We are then partnered with the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. who has a strong role and, as Ken Alex outlined, has a place to play in the program. And I'm going to see right now, because we have a guest from the governor's office who is our direct project contact, who's going to be joining us in a little bit. She's not on the line yet, but when she is, I will bring her in. Holly Roberson will be joining us shortly, so I'll keep moving along. So then we have encore.org. Let me go to the next slide. Come on, little. Oh, we just love. There we go. So we mentioned the Corporation for National and Community Service, who funds AmeriCorps programs, and they're the federal agency who we apply to get support from the AmeriCorps side. And in California, AmeriCorps is managed through California Volunteers, and you met Karen Baker this morning, and you will be seeing more of that. We want you to always know that you are a part of the larger AmeriCorps family, and as you finish this program, you will become an AmeriCorps alumni, whose numbers I think rank up there close to 500,000 nationwide. And it's a pretty amazing program overall. We also have a unique feature in this program, which is that we've partnered with encore.org to recruit and support 8 of our fellows, Encore fellows, who are acting as direct supervisors for members. Everywhere but in Sacramento, we have an Encore fellow who is our direct staff on the ground, who's sitting there with you today. Because LGC is based in Sacramento, our regional supervisor is Jenny Woods, who's an LGC staff person. But in every other region, it's an Encore fellow. And Encore is part of a national movement of folks who are moving into retirement, who want to take their really rich and deep skills in various sectors and share them back with the community. And we're really honored to have the opportunity to work with Encore, because through the process, we met all the regional supervisors who are now with you out in the different regions around the state. And these are folks who have amazing project management skills, amazing experience working in the private and public sector, and they're bringing that to this program to share with you. It's really exciting. We got together for a 3-day orientation training with them earlier this month, and it was great to get to know them, and you'll get to know them, and they bring so much to the program that it's a great way for us to bring that level of expertise to you. And as emerging professionals, we hope that you all get to learn an incredible amount from them throughout the year. Of course, you are a part of this program, you as members, and we're so proud to have you on board. I think you're obviously the glue and the substance of the program, and we thank you for that. So then we have our regional partners. Each one of you is located adjacent to or in the offices of a regional partner currently. We have 9 regional partners representing the 9 regions that we're working in. And you can see on this map here where they're located, as well as the organizational names. So you'll see in the North Coast, we're working with the Redwood Coast Energy Authority, a joint powers agency who focuses on a lot of different issues. The Bay Area, we're working with Bay Area Conservation and Development Commission. This is actually a state agency who focuses on the larger Bay Area and is helping us to engage with local governments in the region. In the Sacramento region, we have the Sacramento Area Council of Governments and the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District. And these organizations are regional agencies who are working to address issues related to local government, air quality, climate change adaptation, and serving as our partner in that area. The Sierra Nevada region, we have the Sierra Business Council, a nonprofit. In the San Joaquin Valley, we're working with the Fresno State Office of Community and Economic Development, so an academic, community-based organization. In the Central Coast, we're working with the San Luis Obispo County Air Pollution Control District, another air district or regional entity who works on air quality issues, but also works with local governments extensively. Down in the eastern Los Angeles and Inland Empire region, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, our regional coordinating body for local governments. In Los Angeles, we're working out of the Los Angeles County Office of Sustainability. And in San Diego, the San Diego Climate Collaborative. So you can see we're working with a wide range of partners in each of these regions. And these regional partners play a really critical role. They're helping us to engage with regional need and opportunities. So before we ever got to today, we met with them extensively and talked about the opportunities in their regions, the networks in their regions, and they helped us identify many of the projects which you will be working on. They're also going to be talking to you later on this week about climate change in the region and bringing in some local stakeholders to talk with you about what's going on in the region and to help you understand exactly what kind of environment you're getting into in your area. So with that, I want to just highlight a program calendar that we have for you. This is the 2014-15 CivicSpark program calendar. Here we are on October 20th, starting the program out. We're going to be doing a week-long orientation, as I think Kristen outlined. And then throughout November, we'll be transitioning through training in general, training on your projects, and project startup. So there's a number of content elements that we've created overall that you'll be exposed to. For example, we're going to be doing some training on the ClearPath greenhouse gas reduction online tool. And we're also going to be providing some training related to some other topical issues that are cross-cutting for all the regions. Your supervisors are also starting to talk to our project partners about the specific kinds of trainings you might need to get up to speed on your project, and that might involve just reviewing their programs that exist or the local government situation, exactly the context you're getting into, maybe doing some study of different tools and resources that you'll be making use of during your project implementation. You also may be completing some of the initial steps for figuring out what the project scope is, working in partnership with us and with your regional supervisor. We will be filling out sort of the profile of each project, getting some of the baseline information we need to get started, and then engaging in the initial stages of the project. So we anticipate that your projects will continue from November on through August in various stages. You will be working on more than one project, more than likely, or your project will be of a fairly significant depth and duration. As we move into our April during your service year, we're going to be starting to do recruitment and planning for the following year. It's not something that you guys will be involved in, but you'll be aware of it. You'll probably be involved from the level of talking with some of your existing projects about what might be coming down the line. Because we anticipate some of these projects will be iterative, that one project, capacity building project, actually opens up more projects. So around August is when we're going to be starting to wind down your service year and think about what comes next. So in the June, July, and August period, we'll be really shifting gears to talk about career transition, to talk about interviewing, to talk about exit strategies so that we get you guys ready come September 18th to really come out of here just fully ready to hit the job market. Our service year ends on September 18th. We'll be working with regional supervisors to put on some sort of celebration event so that we can both capitalize and celebrate your successes and also the local government participation that we've seen through the year. So that's the overall picture of our program calendar. And at this stage, I will pause and take some questions about what it is, what CivicSpark is. And so I'm going to see, I know Kristen did this very well, but let's see if there's questions. I'd love to hear it. Rob corrected me because I mispronounced miswrote San Louis when it should have been San Luis. Thank you, Rob, for clearing that up for us. Any questions about CivicSpark, the calendar, the program design as a whole? No questions from the North Coast. Any questions about the program? We have, probably a 20 minutes to go. We could break for lunch early if that seems like where we're at. Let you all continue your getting to know you while you have lunch. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds to see if anybody writes in a question. Oh, there we go. Takes a little bit. Let's see. I see. Kristen's letting me know that it takes a few minutes for you guys to write your questions. So, here we go. Julie, when can they start applying for next jobs? Great question, Julie. Thank you. Um, uh, it, it, so really, it's a difficult one to oh, thank you for pointing that out. So let me answer this question, then I'll bring back Holly Roberson. This whole webinar thing is a little challenging. Um, so you want to start thinking about your jobs in probably April, May, June. I mean, that's a 3-month window, but you start looking. You're hopefully going to build an incredible network. So you're going to start talking about your next steps early on. But a lot of jobs aren't going to become available until really probably July. You won't see them on the market. We don't want you interviewing too early, because if you get an offer, you're going to want to tell those people you have to wait, because if you exit early for without cause, you're going to lose your ed award, and we don't want that to happen. So it's really important that you time things right, but you also network extensively. So I'm going to hold off on the next question, and I'm going to bring in Holly Roberson, who's been standing by from the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. And I apologize, Holly, I was so caught up in going through the CivicSpark conversation that I forgot to bring you in. So let me give Holly a brief introduction here. Holly Roberson was appointed as the Community Engagement and Land Use Specialist in the Governor's Office of Planning and Research in 2013 and promoted to Land Use Council in 2014. Through a Department of Defense grant, Office of Economic Adjustment, Holly worked with local governments throughout the state on military land use compatibility planning. In her current position as Land Use Counsel, Holly continues to be a liaison to local governments in the Department of Defense for military compatibility issues and long-term renewable energy and climate change policy with DoD. Holly serves as our point person at OPR for the Governor's Initiative AmeriCorps CivicSpark program. She's the project manager and lead author of the new CEQA, or California Environmental Quality Act, guidelines update on tribal and cultural resources, and is a section author of the upcoming general plan guidelines. Holly also works on drought, groundwater, and disadvantaged community issues at OPR. Holly holds a BA with honors at UC Berkeley and a law degree from the UC Berkeley School of Law, Bolt Hall, where she also earned a certificate of specialization in environmental law. It's my pleasure to welcome Holly Roberson to the conversation. Holly, can you hear us? Holly, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Holly. Welcome.
Great. And are you able to see me?
I can't see that from my end. Let me see if I can invite you. Do I have to do that? How do I add video for her? I don't think your video camera is linked, so why don't you just go ahead and we'll have to pass on the video for now. I don't want to hold you up anymore.
Okay, no problem. Hi, everyone. Congratulations, first of all, for your appointment as AmeriCorps members, and we're thrilled that you can join us with CivicSpark. I'm really excited to be a part of this team. The local government commission has extremely skilled people, and I've met with all of your regional coordinators who also have exceptional resumes. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and just wanted to let you know, as I'm sure you've also heard from other administration leadership, that CivicSpark is a really important piece of the puzzle as we try to tackle climate change statewide from the ground up. And I'm just really thrilled that we have young people who are future leaders like you all with CivicSpark who can help us lead the way. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right. Well, I know you're in great hands, and again, thank you for your service, and we're really excited to have you be a part of our first year of CivicSpark.
I'll jump in with a question, Holly, if you don't mind hanging on for a second, and just help us understand exactly what the governor's office does and why there is such an interest in this kind of initiative in your office.
Absolutely. As some of you may know, Governor Brown started the Local Government Commission as a commission during his first term. So working with local governments has always been a priority of his. We really see local governments as key to achieving our climate change goals throughout your training, I'm sure you'll learn about greenhouse gas emissions by sector and the various regulatory approaches we have toward reducing greenhouse gas emissions. But really the only way it works is if we do everything we can at the state level, regional level, and local government level. We're also looking for innovation from local government because often that's, that's where the rubber meets the road, hopefully bicycle tire rubber. And so we're also looking for you all as a two-way conduit of innovative new ideas and best practices. What OPR does, so we're the Governor's Office of Planning and Research. We're a subset of the Governor's Office. We're the long-range planning entity for the state. Planning refers to land use planning, and as you may already know, or you will learn in your training, land use planning and land uses play a giant role in greenhouse gas emissions. So whether or not projects are planned for high-density housing or sprawl development, whether or not we preserve land for open space or agriculture, those are all decisions that are made via the California Constitution at the local level. So our cities and counties always have the ultimate land use decision-making authority, not the state. So they're very key players in how we develop. That said, the Governor's Office of Planning and Research issues guidance, which are the general plan guidelines, which were referenced in my bio, to local governments on best practices for planning their general plans, which in turn dictate land uses through zoning codes. We also do what's called the CEQA guidelines, which is the California Environmental Quality Act. That is the main environmental statute in California. There's a bit of litigation under it, but it can also emphasize how people take into account greenhouse gas emissions in their land use planning decisions. Right now we're especially focused on transportation and greenhouse gas emissions, but as Kif mentioned, I'll be working on incorporation of tribal issues into that as well. OPR also works very closely with the Strategic Growth Council, which is currently giving out over $130 million worth of grants to local governments to work on climate change and greenhouse gas reduction projects. So all in all, if there's anything to do with helping local governments go green at the state, you'll probably see it coming out of OPR, or we'll have a hand in it somehow. We also serve as advisors to the governor's cabinet, so we work with cabinet level entities such as the Department of Food and Agriculture, Natural Resources Agency, California Environmental Protection Agency on development of their environmental policies as they relate to land use planning and local governments. The second part of your question, Kif, was how does this all fit in with CivicSpark? And I should give credit to Michael McCormick, who is with OPR, but on loan to the White House Council of Environmental Quality. He worked with volunteers for over a year to plan CivicSpark, and so this is really the beginning of implementing his vision. So this is something we've been working on for a long time, and we plan to continue working on in the future as the program grows. Did you have any other questions or things I could clarify, Kif? Sorry.
There's a lot of Kens and Cliffs and.
Cliff is the governor's senior advisor on energy, so a compliment to say Cliff.
Thank you. No, and I was just going to mention that there's a great on OPR's website, which is opr.ca.gov. There is a great set of climate change resources. If you Google that, OPR and climate change, you can find your way there. And it really kind of starts you down, again, the path of the many resources and services that the state is providing around this, and that OPR has been tasked with sort of helping to coordinate and bring together in a more cohesive way.
Yeah. And if I could make another shameless plug for our OPR website, as you all are working with local governments, if you have questions about what does this acronym mean, or they're throwing around these planning terms, we have technical advisories posted on our website. So again, if you go to opr.ca.gov, under publications, they're listed by topic. So if you need to quickly get up to speed on any particular topic, that might be a good resource for you to quickly go and read a technical advisory. They're usually written in plain English, hopefully written in plain English and under 20 pages, and should help you get up to speed.
Thank you, Holly. Really appreciate it, and I'm sure you all will be sort of getting to know a little bit of more about OPR does, and hopefully meeting more with some of the OPR folks, particularly Holly, throughout the course of the service here. So,
Great.
thank you, Holly. I really appreciate your time, and
My pleasure. Congratulations again, everybody. We look forward to working with you.
so at this point, what we're going to do is break for lunch and give you guys an extra 15 minutes for your lunch hour. I hope you all have a wonderful time, and we'll see you back here at a 1 o'clock. I guess you guys are getting back together at 12:30 for a team building activity. So you have about 45 minutes for lunch. And then at 1 o'clock, we'll be starting with Introduction to Local Governments in California with myself and Jenny Woods, and we'll see you then.